Hello everyone, welcome to BhadraIASAcademy. Let us continue our one topic a day discussion, and today we are going to discuss the latest news, that is the government's approval for the legal regulation of 100% ethanol vehicles, which has been recently signed by the union minister. So if you look at the news here, this is going to be very important from the exam perspective because of the energy crisis, the petroleum crisis, the crude oil, the expenditure on purchasing crude oil from the international market. Now, Indian government has come out with a policy that we need to be energy independent. So, how are we going to do it? We are going to use more and more ethanol along with petrol. That is a kind of a substitute for crude oil and vehicles, especially for use of this ethanol. So in this context, let us look at what is this whole discussion all about. So Union Minister 𝗕𝗫𝗏𝗏 recently pushed India towards a major fuel transition by approving regulations that legally allow vehicles to run on 100% ethanol. It is in short called E100. Okay, so now what is this E100? So vehicles will begin to now run on only ethanol in future. There is a one possibility. This is not the one and only possibility. This is just one way they are trying to reduce the consumption of petroleum crude. Now this is in very significant fuel policy because the government earlier introduced E20 policy. That means what? You will mix 20% ethanol with petrol so that vehicles will have a 20% ethanol mix. Okay. So now Union Minister 𝗕𝗫𝗏𝗏 stated that India should ultimately aim for 100% ethanol blending to reduce dependence on imported crude oil. So end of the day, this is a very big discussion when we talk about energy security of India. Now related to that, if you see, in this context, we are now talking more about flex fuel vehicles. What is the flex fuel vehicles? Where the vehicles will run on a blend of petroleum with ethanol. So the various options for flex fuel vehicles in India, we have electric vehicles which are already popular and people are buying it. It is highly import dependent on battery components because again we have to import. It has a significant upstream carbon emission when you produce the components, battery and all for the electric vehicles, right? Then higher carbon footprint, it is not there much, carbon footprint will be less, but at the production level in the upstream, there will be some pollution. Now, depending on what we can say the ethanol combination, it depends on homegrown biofuels, it avoids battery related emission and it is completely Atmanirbhar with a very, very little of carbon emission. Therefore, government says this ethanol blended vehicles will in a way reduce the emission as well as it will reduce our dependence on import of crude oil. Okay, so these are very key points that you need to keep in mind. Now recently, Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas Shri 𝗕𝗫𝗏𝗏𝗏, he congratulated Hero Motor Corporation for producing what we say the vehicles, that is the two-wheeler vehicles, Hero Motor Corp, which is compatible for E20 to E85. That means what? 20% ethanol to 85% ethanol use is possible. So such vehicles are already being produced. Okay. So now this flex fuel is a smart choice for what we can say sustainable and self-reliant India. So the main point here is to keep in mind E20 to E85. So that means the blend of ethanol into petrol. Now, what is the solution? How does it solve our problem for energy? It reduces crude oil imports. It provides also additional income to Indian farmers because they are cultivating sugarcane and other agri products from where you can extract ethanol. It advances low carbon mobility. That means what? Very less emission will be there. It strengthens the rural economy because ethanol demand, so demand for sugarcane, rice, etc. will increase. Then E85 flex fuels offer several benefits such as a lower vehicle manufacturing cost, minimal infrastructure, capital expenditure, etc. So overall government को क्या बोलना है, this ethanol blending में अगर हम लोग गाड़ी चला पाएंगे फिर क्या होगा, हमारा इंपोर्ट का पेट्रोलियम क्रूड का बिल बहुत कम होगा, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज का बेनिफिट होगा, फार्मर का बेनिफिट होगा, एग्रीकल्चर का डेवलपमेंट होगा, रूरल इकोनॉमी का डेवलपमेंट होगा, मतलब बहुत सारा बेनिफिट गवर्नमेंट ने इसमें हाईलाइट किया है. सो I also try to give some highlights here. If you see, lower cost for consumer, lower emission, stronger farmer because they will get demand, then energy security of India. मतलब there is a lot of benefit for that, right? So India का future mobility ecosystem, we have various options, like we can have electric vehicles, biofuels, hydrogen and renewable energy, like even solar vehicles also we can have. You know, in that way what happen, India can reduce the dependence on Middle East or some foreign countries for petroleum crude. Now how does it benefit India? So if you look at some of the data, okay, now this data is published by the Press Information Bureau, PIB. I have collected the information from there, right? So India currently imports about 88.5% of the crude oil requirement. Some places you will find 85, some will find 88, doesn't matter. You can say more than 85 to 90% around we are importing crude oil. Ethanol blending quest, which was just 1.5% in 2014, has now achieved 20% blending. Now government target is to go from 20 to 85 and finally go to 100%. You know, that's what E100. So now ethanol blending program of government India started since the ethanol supply year, ESY means ethanol supply year, that is 2014-15. It has saved about 1.84 lakh crore in foreign exchange. That means basically our foreign exchange will remain with us. It resulted in 302 lakh metric tons of crude oil substitution, because that is what we can say, the blending of ethanol, so the substitution takes place. And the important thing is 909 lakh metric tons of reduction in CO2 emission, you know. So another important thing is what farmers are benefiting, about 1.58 lakh crore earnings to farmers. So the Annadatas are in a way becoming Urjadatas, you know. So farmers are also getting some benefit because of this ethanol blending policy of the government, right? So the highlights are given here, how much we have saved foreign exchange, how much crude oil substituted, how much emission is reduced, how much farmers income has benefited. Those highlights are given here. क्योंकि ऐसा वाला क्वेश्चन अगर आपको मेंस में आ गया, इसमें हम क्या आंसर लिखेंगे, उसके लिए मैंने बहुत सारा पॉइंट्स इधर बना के दिया है, राइट? नाउ इफ यू लुक एट इट, गवर्नमेंट क्या बोल रहा है, इवन इफ नाउ यू अडॉप्ट टू एथेनॉल, okay, 1% adoption of flex fuel vehicles even today, what will happen, what will be the advantage? It will generate a demand for 4 crore liters of ethanol, you know. So 4 crore ethanol demand will be created, 266 crore payments to distilleries where the sugarcane distilleries and all will get, then 195 crore savings in foreign exchange. That means our BOP problem also will be solved. And 0.28 lakh metric tons of reduction in crude oil imports. That means our import will comfortably starting to reduce. And emission, if you see, 0.86 lakh metric tons of net CO2 reduction because of ethanol. So even 1% adoption of this flex fuel vehicles will have a huge benefit according to PIB government ka information. So now let us look at this policy. Now we have, what is this ethanol policy? Initially we started with E20, you know. So here E85, what does this E85 mean? 85% we will use ethanol and only 15% we will use petrol maybe in future. If it is E100, it means 100% we will use ethanol. So the flex fuel vehicles will be capable of operating on petrol या ethanol. So in future you might have a ethanol stations like this where the mix will be there, E85, E100, etc. So this policy creates a legal framework for manufacturing vehicles which will be able to run on 100% ethanol. You know, that is the new policy of India. Exam point of view, that is the most important thing that we need to keep in mind. So why is the government promoting ethanol? As I already told you, this is a very important point. Because India imports, as I told earlier, 85 to 88% of the crude oil requirements, right? So our imported bill is very high. So it will reduce our import bill. It will reduce the pressure on currency, that is the dollar requirement. It will have a energy security. We don't have to depend on, you know, others, and geopolitical disruption will not affect us. And the disruption in global oil supply will not affect India. You know, you will not find suddenly petroleum price rising. Even if it rises, it will not affect the common man. You know, that is the concern, the idea behind this policy. So it increases farmers' income also. How? Because ethanol in a way can be extracted from multiple sources like sugar cane, maize, damaged food grains, you know, agricultural leftover. So in a way, therefore, farmers will be able to get better income. So stable demand for crops, higher income for farmers, and reduced sugar surplus problem. You know, if there's a sugar cane cultivated, where to sell the sugar cane? Need not worry, it can be sold to the distilleries who extract ethanol from these agricultural products. Okay, so in a way it will also change the cropping pattern in India in future, possibly. Environmental benefits. This policy, how does it benefit the environment? So lower carbon emission, ethanol burns cleaner, reducing greenhouse gas emission, right? So how does it benefit environment and ecology? Here you can talk about that. Renewable fuel source made from biomass and agricultural feedstocks. Reduce the dependence on fossil fuel. We don't need to use the coal and petroleum crude and all that. Then supports a sustainable future, clean air, healthier transport, etc. Okay. So the government considers ethanol as an important transition fuel towards the greener transport system. You know, that is why government is pushing this policy. What are the flex fuel vehicles? So you can have a convention fuel that is 100% running on petrol. As of now, most people are using this. E20 means you will have a 20% ethanol, you know, rest 80% will be petrol. Whereas if you say E85, ethanol will be 85% and petrol will be only 15%. Now E100, when you say E100, that means it will be fully running on ethanol. Okay. So another alternative is to have an electric vehicle, solar vehicles. You know, there are possibilities, but government is currently thinking about ethanol as a nearest possibility. Now countries which are already using, like Brazil has successfully used flex fuel technology for decades, but they have taken a long time to develop the infrastructure. In India, we don't have the infrastructure. That will be one of the drawbacks जो हम एग्जाम में highlight कर सकते हैं. ठीक है? So which companies are preparing for this E100? Like Maruti Suzuki, Toyota, Hyundai, MG Motor, Hero Motor Corp, Tata Motors, Mahindra. They are all, you know, slowly thinking of making E100 vehicles, you know. So that's what the government is trying to say. All these companies in future will be preparing ethanol compatible vehicles. So what is the economic impact end of the day? So farmers will benefit, high demand for sugarcane, maize and biomass, better price and farmers income. Sugar mills will have additional revenue through ethanol production. Okay. Capacity expansion, infrastructure, all that is possible. Then automobile manufacturer will have a new, you know, division where they will have a ethanol blended vehicle production, and government will have a reduced imports and improved energy security. So national security point of view also it will benefit India. So the infrastructure requirement, it is a concern for us. You need to have a E100 dispensing pumps. We have to establish this kind of a pumps. New pumps will have to be set up. Ethanol storage system, we have to have a, like how we have petrol car storing, now we have to have ethanol storing. Then we need to have a lot of transport, new trucks have to be made, therefore there are a lot of infrastructure we need to create, and India currently does not have the infrastructure. That is our concern. Another important issue that if you want to discuss also in exam is the food versus fuel debate. So should we use the food grain for, producing ethanol? And what about poverty and hunger? People will sometimes run short of food item, where all these food grains will be diverted to industry. So that is another concern. Excessive ethanol production could increase demand for food crops. Sugarcane is water intensive, so groundwater and available water resources constrained. Land use will change, that means cropping pattern of India will change. So there are a lot of concern. So this policy is not just a one-way traffic where everything is a win-win situation. So food security, fuel security, that is the end of the day the question we need to address. So this also you can discuss in your exam if this kind of question comes in mains paper. The impact on automobile industry. So you see various technologies are possible. You can have an electric vehicle, they will use electricity, but urban transport can benefit from there. Flex fuel vehicles where they will mostly use ethanol, long distance it can benefit. Hydrogen vehicles, okay, it will be like a new and a heavy transport can make use of that. So there are different technology possible which India needs to understand how it will have to modify and fit to our situation. Okay, so now question for you. Consider the following statements regarding India ka E100 policy. It refers to fuel containing 100% ethanol. Second statement, flex fuel vehicles can operate on varying ethanol petrol blends, right? The policy aims to reduce dependence on imported fuel. So which of the statements are correct? Answer is D, 1, 2, 3. All the three statements are correct. Now mains perspective, I have given lot of questions here. How this topic can be relevant for mains exam, right? So discuss the role of ethanol blending in India ka energy security. Examine economic implication of government policy promoting 100% ethanol fuel. Here you can talk about how it will affect the farmer, consumer, industry. Here you can also discuss about the food security, etc. What are the flex fuel vehicles? Evaluate their significant India ka transition towards cleaner transportation. This can be asked from the environment point of view. Now ethanol is not merely a fuel but a tool for rural transformation. How it will transform rural, like farmer ka income, rural economy, all that you can discuss here. So discuss the environmental benefits and limitations of ethanol. So here where we can talk about what are the benefits and disadvantages of using the ethanol. So you see mains में ये topic आपको आ सकता है. I have given here already 5 different types of possible lines you can think about it, how to prepare for your mains exam as well. Okay. So consider this topic to be very important. Exam में ये आ सकता है. So even before the prelims exam, I am releasing this video so that you can go through it and prepare yourself for the exam as well. Okay. So for any state level exams, APSC, UPSC, या Nagaland, Arunachal, या if you are preparing for SSC, banking, railways, do contact BhadraIASAcademy for any help, any study material or any coaching related help. Okay, you can contact at 8638391721. So keep watching our videos. We'll come out with more and more topics for your exam preparation. Thank you.